Hey, I'm Jay. This is Chris. And he's going for a cheesy movie trailer theater read vibe. Got a new mic and he's looking to know if what's what, if it cuts through the mix. Let's dive in and see if it does. If you would like me to review your audio, there's a form in the description. Send me something. There's coaching on my website if you prefer that road. Otherwise, thanks for being here. Oh, if you want to jump the queue like Chris did here, move to the top or close to it, you can join the Booth Buddies. That's the channel membership here. Supports these efforts. That's that. Let's see what we can see.
They say the earth doesn't remember, that the wind blows over the tracks we leave and wipes the slate clean. But some stories, they're written in the foundations themselves. They wait for someone with the patience to listen. This is where the past meets the undiscovered, and it's time to hear what it has to say.
Yes. Yeah, Mike works. Mike works, my friend. And I do think that you achieved the tone in which you set out to achieve. Well done. Well mixed. No complaints there. Sounds good to me. What was I going to say? Yeah, cuts through the mix well. All of your questions. This is the, for those of you curious, this is the Sennheiser MKH416, a really lovely microphone that a lot of people use to really good effect. And it's really good for this kind of a use case in particular. So good on you. I think you're on the right path. All of my notes that I have in mind are purely subjective, like directorial notes. Like if we wanted to tweak this, or if I was like the creative department and you were the audio department, and I was like, you know what, it might be nice if we tried it like this, or can we try some things like blah, blah, blah. So those will be my notes. All to say, they're all very, very subjective. I think what you've got here is really solid. So let's take a listen again, and I'll stop and start and talk about what I think.
They say the earth doesn't remember, that the wind blows over the tracks we leave.
Okay. So two really small things that I like here. There's the chung, chung, and you've timed the entrance to your second bit of dialogue with the music to be chung, chung, but the earth, the wind blows over the tracks. Something.
They say the earth doesn't remember, that the wind blows over the tracks we leave and wipes the slate clean.
What was my idea? Let's keep going.
But some stories, they're written in the foundations themselves.
Okay, so in the read itself, the thing that's tough with spots like this or recordings like this, is it really vibes with the visuals. And if you had visuals for this, the timing and pacing and everything would probably work just fine, if not be stellar. But because it's audio only, I'm really listening out for changes that are happening. A lot of movie trailer stuff, like I watch a dude who does a lot of NFL this Sunday, NASCAR coming up this Sunday. And those things are the same. They never change. And, you know, not a bad thing necessarily, because they do what they do. They're just delivering information with sort of a tone and relying on the visuals sweeping across the screen in order to make you feel stuff. So because this is audio only, I'm being hypercritical of stuff like this, but the moments where we can afford a shift in the performance, I think are really exciting to listen out for. So one that I'm thinking about is this first bit is sort of like, they say the earth doesn't remember, that the wind blows over the tracks we leave, leaving a clean slate. But, and as soon as we get a but, anytime that there is a pivot word is kind of what I call them, any word that you can change direction kind of. So that can be, I'm thinking this direction, but, and we have a change somewhat, or some little new bit of information that's happening, or however, or therefore, which is sort of like a step up from things. There are a lot of pivot words like that you can utilize or look out for as potential moments thematically or in the story that we can look to change gears in some way. And so long story short here is you're succeeding really well in the here's the movie trailer read, and here's the thing. We're building in a direction, and it's got a lot of, it's a really good tone in general. And I just would love little moments of change. And there are a couple of things that you could do to achieve that. One, we could shift this first section potentially to be like mysterious and slow. So rather than starting off with the like chung, chung music, it could be like a slow burn that then shifts into something else. So like they say the earth doesn't remember, that the wind blows over the tracks we leave and leaves a clean slate. But we've got all this cool stuff coming up as an idea.
But some stories, they're written in the foundations themselves.
Yeah, so it could be, but some stories are written in the foundations themselves. And now we have a moment of change.
They wait for someone with the patience to listen. This is where the past meets the
This is something important as well. The pacing of a lot of this, I feel like you're trying to time things to the music, which jives. I like it. But this one thought in particular, or phrase in particular, they wait for someone who, what is it?
With the patience to listen.
They wait for someone with the patience to listen. Right now, because of the distance between those things, and because the music thematically is a wash over basically the whole piece in that sort of like building Pirates of the Caribbean-esque tone, they wait for someone who, with the patience to listen. And I'm missing that those are connected. I'm missing that that's sort of a revelation. And it's also an opportunity for an implication. We can implicate the listener in that. Do you want to be that someone? They wait for someone with the patience to listen. And maybe that's you. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
This is where the past meets the undiscovered. And it's time to hear what it has to say.
This is where the past meets the undiscovered. So this is where the past meets the undiscovered. So this is one thing that I talk about often is there's a lot of times, or in a lot of scripts, literature, books, yada, yada, yada. There are moments where there are things that you can sort of weigh against each other in a sense. And these aren't necessarily on a spectrum, or they're not, I forgot the word, but they're not opposites. They're not a diptych. They're not, what is the word? I can't remember. But they're not opposites necessarily, but they can be compared. They're being compared to each other. So where the what?
This is where the past meets the undiscovered.
Where the past meets the undiscovered. We're smashing these two things together. And helping us to draw a distinction between where the past meets the undiscovered. And what the hell is this? I guess it would be the show. This is where the past meets the undiscovered. I don't know, bad version. And then the ending.
And it's time to hear what it has to say.
My only thought there is you've elected for a sort of soft landing, which feels a little bit asynchronous with the music, because the music itself is building to this crescendo moment. But also you've done such a good job building to then be, this is where it has to say, which in and of itself isn't a bad thing, but just in the context of the whole piece, I want the payoff of like an energetic, this is where, what is the phrase?
And it's time to hear.
And it's time to hear what it has to say. And I want the energy to continue through rather than sort of flutter down gently, if that makes sense. But my friend, really solid stuff. Again, a lot of those things are just sort of like directorial ideas. If you want them, if you don't, who knows? No harm, no foul on my end. Like any of you would, I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired. Great work. Great work. Until the next one of these, everybody, I hope this one was helpful. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for sending this along, Chris. And I'll see you then. Toodles.